begin building a folder in my course, which I know most of you have done this already. And I'm just going to name it assignments. And within my folder is where I want to place all of my work, my tests, my quizzes for whatever unit, whatever week, whatever topic that is. To create an assignment using Google, there are a lot of different Google apps in Schoology that many of us get confused on, and rightfully so. An assignment is different than the Google Resource app. As it states, the Google Resource app is meant to be used just as that, just as a resource for your students, just as a PDF or something that they can refer to for notes and information. They're not going to use that Google resource as their work, as something they're going to live work in. So again, the Google Resource app is just a pull an extra piece for your students to help them with the content. A Google Assignment app, you won't see the actual Google Assignment app on the left-hand side. Some of the apps go here, and then you have your resources, and then you have the apps that help you add materials. So there's a lot of different places we can pull from. If I'm going to add an assignment with my Google Drive, and I want every single student to get a copy of this assignment, I'll click Add Materials, Add Assignment. When your internet is fast, it will load. And if you have already installed that Google Drive Assignments app, which I believe has been pushed out to everyone, it'll be right within the assignment. You don't have to go searching for it anywhere. You just, as you make the assignment, it's already in there for you. I'm going to name this assignment Math Practice. One of the biggest things that I have found with working with a lot of educators is what are the solutions for math practice? You know, if I want to just see my students' work on a PDF or on a file written and returned back to me, right now we don't have a widespread solution for that. If you have Chromebooks and you're using Kami, you probably have yourself set, but this is an alternate way that we can do this. Okay, so I just had a message in there. Someone writing about attempting to add apps to the account and they're not populating across the platforms, and then they do not appear at all. I found this out when I was trying to install it. Jillian, we can go over that specifically at the end so that we can see how that works. Google Drive Assignments app was giving problems a couple weeks ago, but that should all have been resolved by now. So we'll go through adding that app at the end. Okay, so for a math practice, I'm going to go to my Google Drive Assignments and let me pull in this math worksheet, and I've already pre-created that as a Google slide. I'm going to show you how to do that too, but I'm going to pull in this math worksheet and I'm going to attach it. Just click and attach. And when you click and attach an item from your Google Drive, it will let you know. This will create a copy of your file for each student. So here in my directions, I'm going to probably be more specific, please. Complete the math worksheet and return. Okay, again, setting your due date for that and how many points it's worth, adding your category. I'm going to make this classwork. And I'm going to assign to my students by clicking create. Now this does give each student a copy of this assignment. I'm going to go ahead and log in as a student so you can see what that looks like on my side. As a student would log in, I'm going to stop sharing this so I can log in on an alternate account. I don't have any students in here to do the student view, if you know what that is. I could have toggled between, but I don't have any students in there. So I will go ahead and log in. And let me share my new screen with you. Okay, and application window. I'd like to go to Schoology and log in. I know you can't see this yet, but I'm logging in as a student. Give me a second and then I'll pull that up for you. And so it would be really helpful to see, let me make sure I've got the right Schoology account. Yes, okay, so I'm in as a student. I'm gonna enter my Schoology course as a student, go into the assignment as a student. And the first time your students open up a Google Drive assignment that you pushed out, it will look like this. The assignment will have the directions in here. They will have to click My Document. And if they have never logged in to their Google Drive account before, and this is the first time you've given them a Google Drive assignment, they will have to connect their account, and it'll just be right here. It'll say, please log in, and they have that information. It's their @morganschools.net account information, and they'll link it. And every once in a while, they might have to redo it, but as you can see, since I've already done that, mine loaded right up. I did not have to log in again. So this is obviously TinyView. This is a Google slide that I turned into a worksheet. Okay, this is not a PDF. It's a Google slide as the PDF worksheet that I would have given to my students. To view this a little closer, the students can just zoom in and they can enter their a text box and type in their answers here, which is one way. They can end up recording their answers for you in their text box right on top of the worksheet, the Google Slide worksheet. Okay, and once they are finished with all of that, they can click Submit Assignment. There is another option. They can do the scribble if they want to write and put their answers in. So it's not as easy as the typing one. They'd have to do it every time because it's not a Google Draw. But there's another option for them to go up to the scribble and draw it in and submit the assignment. Once they're finished, yes, submit. They'll get a little indicator that their submission has been complete and that they are done. Now, they can also unsubmit that assignment at any point in time before it's graded, and if it's before the due date, they can go ahead and unsubmit that. If you've already went in and graded it, they cannot redo anything unless you return it back to them. If it's past the due date, they cannot do anything unless you return it back to them again. Okay, so going back to the teacher view, let me unshare this screen, and I'll show you what it looks like on my side as the educator. And I will go back to share screen. And I will share my previous Schoology. Okay. Okay, so I'm back in my teacher account, back in that assignment. And as the educator, I can see the submissions. When I click the submissions button, obviously I only have one student in here. All of my students would be listed right here on the left-hand side and all of their submissions. And I would be able to see the work. I can zoom in a little bit more too. See the work that my students have done, the text boxes or the written work. I can grade it right within this. At 10, I really didn't do anything at all. Leave some feedback for the student and save that grade. And I can unsubmit it for them. send it back to them and have them redo it with that comment if I wanted to. This grade right here would go straight to my grade book in Schoology. I don't have to go back into the grade book and do anything. As I'm grading everything right within the assignment, it zips over to the grade book. Okay, so that is one way that you can assign through the Google Drive assignments. I would like to show how to turn your PDF into an editable PDF in Google Slides next. I know this is a big question I get a lot, so I felt like it was important to share. So how did I get that math worksheet into the Google Slide to send to my students? I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my Schoology account and go to sharing my Google Drive account instead.
Let's take a look at how to make a PDF into an editable Google slide. First, go into your Google Slides and start a new slide presentation. You should come up with a blank template and delete everything out of that template. And then you want to set up your page in the direction that your PDF is. So generally that looks like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So you want to go to File, Page Setup, and then down to Custom. And I like to make mine an 8.5 by 10 and click Apply. This should rotate your slide into that portrait view. Next, you want to hover over your slide and right-click. Click Change Background. And this is where you're going to choose the image you want to overlay the background of your slide. Now, an image has to be in a JPEG form or a PNG form, and right now we currently have our PDF set in just a regular printable PDF form. So what you want to do is take a picture of your PDF. So take a screenshot and turn that into a picture form. And always, always make sure when you're doing this that you are not infringing on copyright issues when you are reproducing resources. Mathdrills.com is a free resource, that the worksheets are open source, so make sure that you always check into that when you're taking screenshots and using them to reproduce. Okay, so I've taken that screenshot. I go back and I will change my background. And I get to choose image, and I would like to choose one from my computer. I just took the screenshot. There it is, and open. Okay, now what this does is sets the worksheet as a background where this is now unable to be moved or edited, versus just putting in the picture this way, where you could put the picture in. However, if you do it that way, students will be able to move that background image around. By using the background feature, you're setting it as the backdrop of the slide, and then it's uneditable and unable to be moved. And that's it. That's as simple as taking your PDF, turning it into a picture, and setting it as the backdrop. Give your worksheet a name. And you are now ready to upload this worksheet into Schoology as a Google Drive assignment.
And go back to sharing my Schoology tab. I hope this is the teacher version one. I have two open. Okay, it is. All right, so in my course, in my assignments folder, I'm going to add a material. I'm not going to do that right now. Add some materials, add an assignment. Again, this is where you This is the key to pulling in a Google Drive assignment that gives everyone a copy. You have to go through Add Assignment. And again, name it Edition Practice. Give the students the directions right here, all the directions that they possibly need. Purposes. Again, I'm going to click Google Drive Assignments. I've already linked my Google Drive. I've signed in once. Again, I don't have to keep doing it. Math practice, there it is. I can view it first, make sure this is the right one that I want to pull in. And before I assign it to the students, get a quick view of it. I think it looks good. I'm going to attach it. And again, there's your, this will create a copy for each student. Okay, and you know, the same as before, due date, and it will assign to every student. I'm going to go ahead and pause there for a second, just so I know this is kind of coming at you fast and furious, you know, how to create a PDF as an image and a slide and then upload it and make an assignment. So I want to pause for a second and take any questions or comments or ideas that you might have in regards to this process. I'm going to go ahead and get on mute. Has anyone used the Google Drive Assignments app or used slides in this way or any other possible? Okay, Rachel's saying, I didn't see some of your steps. How do we make an item a PDF? Rachel, after this, I think I'm going to go ahead and create an additional how-to sheet for this, because I feel like this is a question I get asked a lot. And there are only a few of us on here today, so I thought this might be helpful to just put out as a how-to sheet with steps on it, and I will send that out. You're welcome. Okay, so Alex says, I've set up Google Drive assignments and had some students test out whether they work. They seem awesome. They seem to be working great. I know that, you know, that first time your students get in there, they've got to sign into Schoology through K-12, and then they've got to sign into their Google Drive with their at morganschools.net. So it can be a little cumbersome at first to get set up, but once it does, and the students are used to it, that seamless integration is beneficial to them and you. I know we only have a few more minutes left of the 30-minute tutorial, but we did start a couple minutes late. I would love to show the Google Draw feature, especially for those of you who work with, well, I guess any age students. I'm thinking of our younger students when I think of Google Draw, for the simple fact that, you know, they're not typing yet or adding text boxes. So Google Draw is a great way to get a visual for students who want to show you how to, you know, solve an equation or to write out their work for you as an example. So Summer says, I missed this step on changing to portrait view. It wasn't showing on the screen as you were talking. You know, I think there might have been a lag in there, Summer. I will go back and do that because I'm going to be getting back in the drive again. So I'll probably end up being able to pull that up too. Let me go ahead and go back to my Google Drive assignments and show you how to pull in a Google Draw. And this should work on an iPad or on a Chromebook, either way. And let's go back to my teacher view of Schoology. Okay, I already have one created and I made it in my Google Drive. I made the assignment for a math for an elementary. So I'm going to go to Google Drive assignments to pull it out. And I'm using math today as my example because I feel like that's been coming up a lot. And you can see that I have my Google Draw document already prepared. You know, you need to prepare these in advance in your Google account so that when you come into Schoology, you can pull them in. But I have this one already done, and it's not much of anything but some text in this Google Draw. And again, I pull it in as an assignment. Let me just show you what that Google Draw looks like for time's sake. I'm going to stop sharing this and go to my Google Drive instead. And I'll share my Google Drive with you. Go here, desktop, and let me go to my drive. Okay, here we go. And so in Google Drive, I can create a brand new Google Draw by clicking the drop down, and it's not immediately visible here, but I go to More and find my Google Drawings here. And I can create a brand new assignment or a brand new drawing this way. The last assignment that I created, the only thing I put in was a text box of directions that said draw an 8x8 array, write a word problem array, a picture. Very basic here, but that was the only thing that was on my Google Draw. What your students are able to do when they get that assignment, just like the slide, each of them are going to be able to use the scribble to draw right within the Google Draw itself. They can add shapes if they wanted to make their array. These are kind of large, but you get the idea. They can make shapes within there. And so I feel like with this, even using an iPad with your finger and drawing right on would be a great way for our students to be able to get their ideas, maybe concept mapping, whatever it might be, back to you through Schoology if you assign it through the Google Drive app. And this will be no different than assigning the slide. Another Google Drive feature that I felt was really, really helpful that you can pull in as an assignment. I found an example. Let me see if I can pull up that example for you. It was equations, I believe. Yes. Okay, you should be seeing the Google Draw, and it's the created systems of equations practice in Google Draw. Okay, awesome. Thank you for letting me know you can see that. Okay, so again, this was something I found that somebody created. It's interactive, moving the pieces in Google. This is done in Google Draw. And again, just like a Google Doc or just like a Google slide, you can assign this in right within Schoology, and the students would interactively move these pieces right within Schoology. Some of these things can be done in slides, but Google Draw makes it a little bit easier with colors and editing for you as a teacher if you want to create from scratch. And so once the students had these all in place, they would click submit right within Schoology, and you would be able to grade it right within the platform. And so let me stop sharing this and real quick showcase the just actual drawing feature. If you missed that, I'll just go ahead back to the share feature again and specifically make sure we have that shared, because I am between untitled drawing. Okay, so again, this is a blank Google Draw. It comes in checkers. Let's make sure everybody can see that first. Are we good to see that? You should see the blank Google Draw. Is that correct? Okay, great. Good, awesome. Okay, so this is, again, the thing I guess it didn't show, but the students would use the scribble feature to draw. Oh, scribble feature to draw shapes and arrows equations. If you wanted them to submit a blank drawing or concept map, this would be a great way to create a basic blank Google Draw and assign that to them through Schoology. They can write on and send it back right within the platform as well. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing there. And I know that is just a couple little features that I feel are important to give a try or share out with others in regards to just being able to have students write on things. I know that a lot of us are excited about Kami, and it's a great app. It's a great extension, but not everyone has access to that right now. So I thought this was another way that we could get our students to write on different items. I think a lot of us are trying to find ways for students to, write out their work and get it back to us without having to use some kind of external platform. And so I felt like I really wanted to hit home on how students can do that work right within Schoology without having to print something out or taking pictures and uploading separate documents. As far as taking a picture of work and uploading the photos, that one at a time photo upload is what I have seen as well. I believe that, I don't know if Bridget is still on. Bridget, that was your question, right? She might have had to step away for a second. And so that was one of the things that I feel like lots of our students are doing as well at the middle school, trying to figure out all the different ways that they can submit their work back to us. And I think the best method is for us to try to get them to do that work right within the platform.
Yeah, Tina, can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Yeah.
I think it might have cut out again, Bridget. I'm not sure that I don't know if anybody else can hear her, but I know that I can't on my end. I'm on my computer here. It works. You might be on a cell phone. If you can, go ahead and type in the side, Bridget, if you have something to share or, ask in more detail about that, because I'm not able to hear. And then I know, Rachel, you asked about the submit button. And so hopefully using the assignments will have given you a visual on where students submit in Google Drive assignments. It's the same thing for OneDrive assignments. That submit button should be in there for your students. If you're making a page or you're doing a discussion, they won't have that submit button. That will only come if you have an assignment for them and it's created as an assignment. And then another person had a question emailed to me about where the students have okay, Rachel, the submit button is missing. Summer was with me when that was discovered. We were making assignments. So on the student's end or on the teacher's end? Because on the teacher's end, you won't actually see the submit button. Interesting. The best thing with something like that happens, if you could, or anybody could screenshot that issue and send it to me, send it to someone to see, because that is not something that should be happening at all. That's if it's in an actual assignment, there shouldn't be an issue with not having a button to submit. That's a nightmare for students that we're trying to get to complete work. And so if you see that, or a student sends it to you, maybe if it's a visual that you or I or somebody could see, we can get that fixed right away, or find out what the glitch is there, because that is definitely not, it's not set up to showcase like that. If it's an assignment, there needs to be a button to submit, whether it's in the Google Drive assignment or it's in the top right-hand corner where they can, write right within the assignment and type right in. They don't have to use a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc. If you create an assignment, they can actually write their response right there and submit in that way too. So not having a submissions may have been disabled. That's an option when you create an assignment. That's true too. If you have to actually, you have to actually go in and do that too. So interesting. So yeah, if you guys notice that again, I'd like to see what that looks like. And so it came back for both of you, Rachel and Summer. It resolved itself, or what was the solution there? Or is it still that way?
It was, she was viewing as a student. It was on Rachel's, not my personal Schoology account. And I'm wondering if it was just because she was viewing it as a student. She didn't actually log in as that student. Is that possible?
Oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I like to do is, for me, I've added myself to my courses, so I can go in and actually go through the assignment, make sure it loads, and submit it as a student, just to make sure everything works correctly. But if you're just viewing it that way, you're not going to be able to access their assignment and submit their assignment and do all of that. That makes a lot of sense. Rachel, did you have any issues with your students saying that, or that was just on your end, you think? It sounds like, okay, I never tried it with, I never tried it after Summer was tutoring me. I haven't tried it with students. Okay, that's my assumption as well, that you're looking at it from a student view, and I know that you're not able to go in and actually do the assignment, submit the assignment for them. You're just seeing what it looks like on their end. And then I believe I had another question about the microphone, and if it's the same, let me go ahead and I will troubleshoot this on my end. Let's just take a look while we're here and see if that is the case, just so we can test out that theory, because I believe that's what it is. I'm going to go ahead and go to my Chrome tab and my assignments on Schoology. And actually, I'm going to log into my other Schoology account before I share, because that one actually I have practice students in, which are teachers, in my one course, and we can take a look that way. Go to my sandbox course, and then I'll share this with you that way. Okay. Let's just test this out while we're here. Chrome tab. And there we go. All right. So this is like the one I used before school. I use this actually at Pleasant View. And I will go to course options and view as. Let's take a look here. I will just, so Summer is in here. I'll just view as her. Okay, I'm going to go to the materials of this course and go to the introduction activity, which I believe was a Google Drive assignment. Yep, it was an all about me activity. Let me pull that up. Now it looks like I'm still looking at it as the teacher here. It didn't give me her view. Let me make sure I'm viewing. Yep, I'm viewing as her. I'm gonna go to materials. Let's see what activity 1 looks like. And pick a book. This one is just a discussion. And yeah, the microphone is here for that. And this is where the microphone would be for the discussion, or if it's an assignment, it should be visible at the bottom. It's going to be grayed out. They're going to have to click on it in order to access that microphone. So I don't see. Okay, and go back into looking at another assignment just to make sure one more time. It could be just that it pulled me into that assignment as a teacher, though, even though I'm looking at it as summer. All about me. Okay, well, it's not letting me access the assignment, but the submissions were, this is the teacher view. So as I'm trying to look at this course as a student, it actually pulled me into my teacher view here. So that's a little weird to me too, but it also did not show me the submit button, and it might be why. It would be nice if we can view that assignment exactly in detail as the way that the student would, and be able to access it just like the student would. Let me just pull in another person, just to double check that. And it looks like it is pulling me in as the teacher for that actual assignment. So I'm not going to have the submit button there, which is quite odd. So that could be kind of the solution to what you're looking at. But I wish that it did show us that as the student. That would make a lot more sense than trying to create an account and having you go in again as a student yourself, like I did today, and having to check around on those assignments. Okay, so I think I covered some of the topics that were emailed to me for the people who are in here, but if there's anything else or any other questions in regards to Google assignments or Google Drive or anything in Schoology, we've got a few minutes left if you want to throw those out in the chat or unmute. And if not, just share, how's everything going? What is it, what's happening with Schoology, with your students, your grade level, share a success at least. If we don't have any questions right now, I'm sure we will at some point, but let's share out a success. What's going well? Don't everybody speak up at once. I'd like to share a success. I feel like the teachers that are working on Schoology are, you all are working hard through all of the glitches, all of the learning process on top of, teaching students in class, in person, and managing virtual. And I just feel like the educators in Morgan County, I know that, we're exhausted, we're tired, but everybody is dedicated to just figuring this out and doing the best that we can. And so I feel like the general, that gives me a positive feeling. I know we're going to get through it, together as a team. It's a real team feeling from everyone that I've talked to, even though it's not easy. Everyone is committed to making it work somehow. Any other thoughts or ideas or positive comments or questions or concerns?
I have a question. Have you heard about, like, if we had any more feedback on whether Cami would be an option for us when our trial ends?
That is a great question, Summer. I know that Candy sent out an email, I believe it might have been Friday, just kind of touching base with the admin teams at the board office. And I didn't see any replies come in from that. It was something that I talked about with Beth, that she also took back to their admin cabinet meeting. And we know, as far as getting Chromebooks in as a county and going one-to-one, we have, I think the trial was like a 3-month trial
Right.
to kind of test it out. And oh, Rachel's saying Candy has been out sick. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I knew she sent the email, I believe it was last Thursday or Friday, just to touch base. And she was saying, like, this is kind of getting buried in there. Just want to touch base and see, where we are in the process of getting this purchased. I talked with Tom about it briefly at the beginning of last week, I think it was. And he also mentioned purchase price. There were 2 prices floating around. One was really, really good and one was not. And so
Right.
which one it was that they found out was the correct one, because the one that was really, really good is so worth it. So I know that they do have at the one admin meeting, it might have been last Monday. Gosh, it could have been 2 Mondays ago, because the weeks are flying by. They did discuss it, and it did come down to pricing. So I'm not sure, whose hands that's fallen into next in making that decision. Somebody's asking, is Kami what allows us to make PDFs? It will make your PDF interactive, meaning that the students can draw on it. There's no need to take a picture of your PDF and make it into a slide so that they can put, text on top of it or draw on top of it. Like, that's an extra step for teachers. And there's a lot more to it than just writing on a PDF that Kami offers us too. But that's one of the best features that right now that you can implement today without, with the ease. It is free. It's an extension for Google, and the free version has a couple workarounds. The paid version, the kids just work right within it and submit it. But until we hear from the county level and what we're going to do with it, I haven't pushed out any formal tutorials on it, because I want to make sure that if we're not going to purchase it, I'll do a tutorial on how to do the workaround. And if we are going to purchase it, then there's a lot more, that we can invest in that too. But yeah, Rachel, if you log in, you can log in with your Google account, play around with it right now as a teacher. I wouldn't try pushing it out right now to your students. We've had a few teachers try that here, and some kids could use it successfully and some couldn't, because right now there's a bunch of mixed devices that are out there. And so it didn't really go very smoothly. Some of those assignments are coming in as a picture, and some are coming in as, some distorted thing, and others are coming in just fine. So I wouldn't push it yet, but I would play around with it. Awesome. Some are saying it's been very successful with student use in my classroom. Love it. Makes it so much easier. I think that, once those Chromebooks come, if there's a teacher need for it, there will be maybe a solution figured out if it's not Kami. But that one is probably the best platform and the most affordable platform out of the other options, versus having to do all those different, workarounds that I was trying to showcase today. Candy asked me last week to do some Bitmoji fun things, so I'm thinking about doing that sometime soon. I know there's only 2 or 3 of us left on here, but the emails for this will be coming out. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this. I'm going to share my other screen again. The emails for our meetings will be coming out on Mondays, so that you can see what the upcoming meeting is going to be about. Candy and I talked about having different topics each Tuesday. So the first 30 minutes or so will be on a specific topic, and then the second 30 minutes will be on open Q&A. So be looking for those emails every Monday morning. Joan will be sending those out. I know it's already just about 4:30, but thanks guys for sticking this out on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. And, please email me in the meantime some other questions that you might have so I can best prepare for the following weeks. Thanks for stopping in. You're welcome, Rachel. And have a good night. If you're not already home, drive safe in all that rain. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good night.